RC-0971, Slate. Mission log recovered and flagged as non-essential by Naval Command. Deployment. Investigation of blackout aboard Acclimator-class vessel Prosecutor. No signs of damage. No outgoing transmissions. No survivors. Delta was inserted under assumption of technical failure. No mention of possible hostiles. No mention of what we'd actually find. The Prosecutor wasn't adrift. It wasn't waiting. It had already been boarded. Already stripped. Already bleeding. Command framed this as a recovery mission. What it became was a message. We weren't the first to walk these halls, and if we hadn't cleared them, we wouldn't have been the last to die in them. This mission starts with a familiar kind of unease. Delta Squad is deployed to investigate the Prosecutor, a ship we'd actually served on earlier in the war. There's something inherently off about returning to a place you once called home and finding it completely lifeless. The squad isn't caught off guard. They're split from the beginning to cover more ground quickly. It's tactical, efficient, but it's also the first time in the game where you're left truly alone, and that changes everything. The lighting is dead. The corridors are cramped. Night vision becomes mandatory within seconds. And even though being apart was part of the plan, it doesn't make it feel any better. Then the calls start coming in.
6-2 again. I'm getting that static again. Stronger this time. I can hardly see. What the?
6-2. Delta 6-2. Can you hear me? Report.
Get off me, you frowning bag of bolts!
6-2.
Over the comms, you hear one of your brothers under attack. You're too far to assist. Too far to even know what's hitting him. The game doesn't dramatize it. It just lets you sit with that helplessness. What's attacking your squad? You wonder for a moment. And then you see it. Scavenger droids. Scavenger droids hit you first, and they do it fast. These things aren't built for tactics, they're built to break things. They use electric bursts that drain your health so fast, and fling themselves at you when they die, just to take one last jab at you. They're small, quick, and hard to track with your blaster. This section changes the way you move. Suddenly you're sweeping each corner slowly, listening harder, looking harder. Sometimes you can catch these scavenger droids on the wall before they can see you, or other times they just attack you as soon as you start to slice a panel. You've trained for war. This is pest control, with consequences. Eventually, you reach Sev, or rather, you can see him, separated by a glass wall. He's taken down by something new, Trandoshans. It's a brutal introduction, and it's deliberate. You're forced to watch it happen. No breach command, no rescue attempt can be made. Just a reminder that even your best can be overwhelmed. Fixer links up with you next. You slice through a door, destroy a droid dispenser, and push towards Sev's location. But before you can catch your breath, a Trandoshan elite comes crashing in. They don't go down easy. They're stronger, more armored, and built to break your squad formations. And here's the twist. These Trandoshans aren't just here to scavenge. They're slavers, and they've got separatist gear, which means someone's helping them. Once Sev is back, the mission keeps pressing forward. Scorch has been captured and moved to the detention block, so you set out to recover him too. This section isn't just a rescue, it's about re-establishing control. You have to fight to Scorch's location, slice through security, and finally bring the squad back up to full strength. From here, it gets a little less scary, but a lot more tactical. You're placing snipers, covering breaches, using demo on dispensers, and slicing terminals all mid-fight and under fire. The game doesn't slow down, it just shifts gears. Now it's not about surviving the ship, it's about retaking it. The ship fights back harder than expected. Turrets open fire the moment you step into major rooms. Droid dispensers start stacking up enemies in tight spaces. Traps are hidden around nearly every corner. It's a test of how well you've learned to command under pressure. You're not just placing your squad anymore. You're managing their health, cycling their roles and trying to stay ahead of every new angle the game throws at you. By the time you're pushing toward the bridge, everything feels like it's closing in. You're being timed by the pacing, but not by a clock. And once the bridge is secure, you destroy the signal jammer and finally hear from Command. The update from Command changes everything. Turns out, the Trandoshans are working with the Separatists. The Prosecutor wasn't just attacked, it was supposed to be part of a trade. The slavers were going to hand it over fully intact. But there's a silver lining here. The ship's logs survived. Everything the Trandoshans did, their comms, movements, loadouts, was recorded. If the Republic can get that intel back, they might be able to shut down this slaving ring for good. And that's especially important on Kashyyyk, where these slavers have been hunting the Wookiees. So this isn't just about holding ground anymore. It's about protecting something that matters. You're tasked with destroying the slaver ship docked in the hangar, but as usual, the path there isn't straightforward. Delta is ambushed again in the detention block, and the elevator route is clearly rigged. So, like true professionals, you reroute through the garbage chute. It's not treated like a joke. The game doesn't wink at the camera. It's just another gritty workaround from a squad that's used to finding solutions. When you reach the hangar, you engage the slaver ship directly and blast it to pieces with turret fire. And that should be the end, but the Separatists have other plans. The real siege begins here. You're holding off multiple waves of battle droids, slicing security systems, and destroying field generators to limit enemy access. You even have to hop into a Republic walker at one point just to break through the last line of defense. The mission stops feeling like a ghost story and turns into a proper war zone again. And then comes the final objective. Activate the ship's turbo lasers and take out the Separatist cruiser closing in from orbit. You get it done. The cruiser explodes in the distance. The ship goes quiet again. Delta survives. Barely.